Hi everyone, Emily here today, and I have coronavirus. I'm doing okay, just very, very tired. It's like a really bad cold for me, apart from feeling really tired. So I'm doing okay. But yeah, I finally got the corona. Anyway, so I wanted to continue on from last week's video a little bit, talking about how my alters have sort of relationships with each other. And relationships, I mean the broad term of relationships, not necessarily romantic ones. And that's very normal for people with DID to have, is that their alters can interact with each other. This kind of goes hand in hand with the inner world. The inner world is a term used to describe essentially the inner world. So it's like a space where all your alters can interact with each other and live. That's in your mind essentially, and I have heard that a lot of people with DID do the same thing that I did, which was to make that in Sims, to visualize what it sort of might look like. So if anybody's interested in seeing maybe what that looks like, I'll see if I can get that done for you. But basically our inner world isn't as complicated as some people's can be, and other people with DID don't have much of an inner world at all. But our inner world is sort of more like a house. Each alter has their own bedroom that's their own private space. So when they're asleep or when they're just not around, they go to their bedroom. There's a main common room downstairs, and if people are downstairs, it means they're awake and active, and whoever is fronting is aware of them, for us. And then there's the very, very, very front room, which is like a big glass wall, and you have to be in that room if you're fronting. So that's how you can co-front as well, because it's just a room. We also have like filing cabinets near this front room that we use to put memories in, so that we can share memories so everybody knows what's going on. And it's how, my littles know about more adult things and know how to read and write. And it's about it's got things in there, so if somebody fronts, say Lucy fronts, and I switch out, I will know where I am and what I've got up to, because we leave these memories in this filing cabinet for each other. So that's sort of the space that my alters interact in, and basically some alters are more comfortable with others, and less comfortable with others, if that makes sense. Again, I apologise if I'm not being particularly clear. I'm very tired. So for an example, Raven, who is fairly new, as we know, she looks up to Lucy, who is kind of like our main guardian protector. She looks up to her and in a way admires her, although she wouldn't say it in so many words. But she is a lot closer to Charlie, and they sometimes spend time together in the inner world. So they know each other a bit better, and they're more sort of sisterly friends in a way. Things like Ashley got quite excited when Evie showed up, because she thought that she might have another younger friend to hang around with, but Evie keeps more to herself. And so Peter will sometimes hang out in Ashley's room, but they don't really play together because Peter doesn't like the things that she does. But Ren will spend a lot of time in Ashley's room, drawing with her or doing other creative things in her room, or she's got a bunk bed in her room so that Ren can come and stay in the bottom bunk while she's in the top bunk. So in her room is specifically designed with spaces for Ren, which is very, very sweet. And it's nice that she has someone to interact with in the inner world. Lucy doesn't really interact with many people, but out of everybody she interacts with like me and Pepper sometimes, but it's more just sort of that we will go and share time with each other. I don't know how other people's inner worlds work. For us, it's not so much that they're having an experience. So when say Ren's hanging out with Evie, it's not that they would be able to say we did X, Y, Z. It's more that they shared time together and that they know that they were together, and that they felt comforted by being around each other. It's difficult to explain, but it's not that every single altar has their own day. Not every single altar does their own things in their head all the time, has their own experiences. Most of the time for us, our altars will either be asleep or just downstairs, just sharing time and space in the living room, watching what's going on, or just being with each other. It's not that they could say I got up and had this for breakfast and went for a walk and saw these birds and came home and played this video game. It's not specific like that for us in our system. So that's a little bit about how they interact in my system. In other people's systems, altars can have actual I suppose intimate relationships with each other. You know, you can have boyfriend, girlfriends, boyfriends, married couples. You can have any kind of actual what's the word I'm looking for? You could have any kind of romantic relationships. Most of mine in our system are just sort of family related, so sort of how you would say your friends are family as well. It's like an extended family group, not real blood family, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's a warm, safe, comfortable space, and everybody can interact with each other if they wish to. But most people in my system spend most of their time in their rooms. So yeah, that's a little bit about what our inner world is like, and it's a little bit about how they interact. I mean, I don't know all of my altars, like personally. I haven't shared time with all of my altars particularly well, especially because I don't find it very easy to be downstairs if somebody else in my system is fronting. And again, I'll reiterate, downstairs in our language, in our system, means that they are slightly conscious, but just not fronting. It's not the same as co-conscious, because they can choose to pay attention or not. They just are awake, if that makes any sense. So that'll probably do for today. I am probably going to go back to bed. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. Yeah, coronavirus. Our experience has just been mostly being exhausted, finding it slightly more difficult to breathe, and headaches, but you know, the usual thing. But I suppose the only difference is that we have been trying not to switch. I don't want my alters to have to be ill. The only problem was it was our 1 year anniversary of getting a diagnosis, which is essentially my alter's birthday, and I have coronavirus, so I couldn't really get them out because I didn't want them to be ill. Charlie did come out, and she, you know, hung out with Luke and Nick for a little bit, but not a great birthday for them. And I'll have to do another video about, you know, deciding that and birthdays as a system. But yeah, basically when we get really sick, we try not to let people out that wouldn't want to be out, so littles and sometimes people that just like would be too annoyed by it. Yeah, just I try and stay out most of the time if we're ill. So that's the only other interesting thing about having coronavirus as a DID system. For us, we choose that only people that are in that moment able to handle the symptoms. So most of the time me, I know Lucy and that lot could, but also with the extreme tiredness, it means that some of my alters find it a lot harder to stay conscious because we're all really tired. So yeah, I hope that's at least a little bit interesting, and if anybody has any questions, please put them in the comments. Any comments are always welcome, and like it if you liked it, and I will see you next week. Bye guys!